Welcome to the AI Research Roundup. I'm Alex. Today we're looking at a paper from the Hugging Face trending list, published on September 14, 2025, about 1 week ago. The headline result is clear. Instruction tuning with logical chain of thought boosts planning validity dramatically, reaching up to 94% on standard benchmarks and averaging roughly a 66% absolute improvement over baseline models. The paper is titled, Teaching LLMs to Plan, Logical Chain of Thought Instruction Tuning for Symbolic Planning. And as we'll see later, the implications for model training are quite significant. The work pairs explicit reasoning about preconditions and effects with an external verifier, and it generalizes across blocks world, mystery blocks world, and logistics. On X, commenters highlight the big gain claims, noting 94% planning accuracy and a 66% absolute improvement, while debating whether models need richer written feedback and targeted edits beyond reinforcement learning. One post frames this as a potential milestone by pairing reasoning with external validation. Another calls for more symbolic reinforcement learning, even with external solvers. Engagement looks moderate overall, with one thread drawing about 126 likes. Alright, the previous figure summarized the headline results. Figure 1 now lays out the full training and evaluation pipeline. The diagram shows an initial fine-tuning step that feeds domain, problem, and plan explanations into a pre-trained model so a fine-tuned model emerges. The center block highlights chain of thought instruction tuning, which trains on state-action-state triples and receives verifier feedback that can be binary or detailed so the model learns precise applicability checks. The right side depicts evaluation, where the final model outputs a validated action sequence. So the previous figure outlined the pipeline. Table 1 now reports plan accuracy across domains and feedback types. The table shows large jumps from the baseline to PDDL-INSTRUCT, with Llama 3 reaching 94% on blocks world and 79% on logistics when using detailed feedback with ETA 15. Mystery blocks world improves most when feedback is detailed, which suggests that fine-grained error signals matter. GPT-4 follows the same pattern, hitting 91% on blocks world and 78% on logistics. Alright, the previous table compared accuracies. Table 2 now lists the training settings that made those gains possible. The table presents Phase 1 versus Phase 2, which is the chain of thought phase, with longer sequences and lower temperatures so generations stay focused. Learning rate decays across 2 stages, batch size halves, and weight decay along with gradient clipping become more conservative. The key control is the iteration limit eta set to 10 or 15, which governs how many verifier feedback loops the model receives. So the previous table covered hyperparameters. Table 3 summarizes the compute footprint, which helps gauge practicality. The table lists identical hardware across phases, with 24 gigabytes of GPU memory per GPU, 2 GPUs, 16 CPU cores, and 64 gigabytes of RAM. Training time increases from 12 hours in Phase 1 to 18 hours in Phase 2, so total training time reaches 30 hours. Inference time per problem is about 2.3 seconds, which suggests deployment remains responsive. Well, the previous table quantified runtime. Table 5 breaks down where plans still fail, which pinpoints what the verifier feedback must correct. Table 5 shows 4 error types with rates across blocks world, mystery blocks world, and logistics. Incorrect effect application dominates in mystery blocks world at 12.4%, so mismatched state updates remain the main obstacle there. Preconditions and unmet goals account for much of the rest, while invalid action sequences are comparatively rare. The total failure rates are 6, 36, and 21% respectively. Alright, the previous table dissected failure modes. Table 4 compares component contributions across domains. Table 4 shows that Phase 1 alone lifts accuracy substantially, while Phase 2 alone helps less in blocks world but more in logistics because verifier guidance stabilizes state updates. The best results come from Phase 1 plus detailed feedback with ETA 15. Reaching 94%, 64%, and 79%. Binary feedback trails detailed feedback, which reinforces that granular error signals drive stronger planning skills. Wrapping up, 2 takeaways stand out. Explicit, logical chain of thought with verifier feedback turns free-form reasoning into reliable symbolic plans, and detailed error signals consistently lift accuracy, especially in tougher domains like mystery blocks world. The broader implication is clear. Neural models can collaborate with formal tools to plan robustly. That is it for this episode of the AI Research Roundup. I am Alex. Thanks for listening.